can take the game, right? They have been a good team so far on the tournament.
I mean, yeah, it's absolutely possible, right? These teams are two of the top teams in the league, so it's definitely one of those games where it can go either way. Augusta obviously in first place right now, Senshi Club in third. So two teams that we're expecting to, at the very least, be a challenge for Augusta. And I think, looking at the rosters, it kind of checks out that it will be pretty telling, I think, of how seriously we can consider this roster moving forwards throughout the rest of the split.
Yeah, and so far on, like, Senshi has got really good games, and they have been playing really good on the tournament so far. Of course, they had the substitutes for the supports because the main support left, but so far Ethereum has been doing good. Like, Magus has been doing good for the team. I think they are definitely playing like the controlled game so far, but I think here is a very good challenge for them because Asteroid Augusta has been a very aggressive team and they tend to get the early game their way, which might be one of the weak sides from Senshi Club. And yeah, let's see how this works for them.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think when we talk about Augusta, we need to also discuss some of their all of their strengths. So they have a lot of flexibility. They're very talented as far as rosters go, but they aren't unbeatable. They definitely have their weak points, and I think that while Senshi Club sometimes has some issues in those early stages of the game, when the game goes later and later, they feel like a team who can step it up. So I'm excited to see whether or not they'll be able to really bring that late game about, especially when you're playing into things like Ornn and Veigar, because it feels like or rather with Ornn and Veigar, they've dropped themselves quite heavily towards that late game fantasy, which makes me think, is it a case of them just sort of saying, we don't play early game, we're going to scale, we'll be passive, or do you think it's more of a case of saying, we don't think you can abuse us early on?
Well, this is especially, that's a good question, especially because Senshi tends to drop out on the early games, and this has been the case on the last games. Definitely they dropped some early games against some of the weak teams, we can call them like that, but maybe they can prove us wrong here because they got the Ornn here like on the weak side. Of course, it's not a very hard matchup for a Mondor, but I mean they are playing the weak side a bit here on the early game. They tend to tank it a bit, and when they get to the late game, to these stages where they have the 3 items, the 4 items, they are very good team on the team fighting side. So that's where I want to see them play, and let's see if they can show us a bit of a better performance here on the early game, of course. But I think Augusta, I think Augusta will pressure it.
We gotta see whether they can get there. There is no quick early game. There is no quick late game that comes to you either. So I think we need to be looking at this early game to see whether or not there will be action coming through from Stank in this bottom side. 4-3, but they've got the rotation from the mid lane coming through. It's going to be a flash away from the Viego Forced. But here come the rotations now. Xerath landing a nice Q. A little bit of damage coming through from Nopi. It's just going to be a Nopi to the end of this play. Stank barely out on this one, and Stank limping away.
Yeah, and Stank goes very aggressive on the early scuttle. We know this is not the patch where you want to fight those scuttles so hard, but here a bit of an aggressive play from Senshi. I think they got the rotation first, and this gave him pretty much the prio, so they got the mid lane and the bot lane to give the jungle the possibility of being aggressive, but almost taking down Stank from the side of Augusta, and he needs to be careful. Now Vikes doesn't have flash, so this may be an opportunity for pressuring this early Drake.
Yeah, no flash on Vikes, but did secure the crab, so a nice jungle CS lead being accrued here. It will result in double crab going down as well. There's some trading in the bottom side happening now. Algojo in a little bit of trouble, but is going to get away with it, so it is just going to be that heal blown for the exhaust, so it's a decent trade out. Honestly, I think Senshi is not too unhappy about that one.
Yeah, just a bit of a cuddling right between support, AD carry going on here in the bottom.
A little bit of a struggle snuggle, if you will, going on there in the bottom side.
But we did drop exhaust.
I think it's pretty
heal.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting, or rather important that we mention Stank though, going into this one, because when you look at a composition like Ornn, Veigar, Sivir, it doesn't scream early proactivity.
Uh-huh.
So when you have this in Zhao, I feel like we need to see a really strong performance out of Stank to transition their team to those later stages as that more aggressive early game member.
By the way, do you also think, because here looking on the Zinzao pick rights, we've got a Acerate Augusta team where they have a front to back, yes, but they do not have too much options in the engaging department. They basically, I think they prefer to play on the choke points with this comp, but I'm here looking at the Zinzao who can peel pretty much for this Sivir, this Veigar. Will it be hard for Augusta to get on the backline? Because I feel like this can be hard, right?
It definitely can be, but what could be harder is this gank coming through here. Stank forces one flash already, might force another one. Marksman is going to get low, but will survive thanks to that flash, and here comes the rotations. Noppy going to come in for this one, might be looking for a little bit more, but
The
that's
flash
nothing
for Stank.
really going to be done as Stank overstaying. The Stand United comes through to defend the Karma, and it's going to be first blood over to AEA. Make that a second, looking for 3, but it ain't going to come about. However, just the rotational difference here coming through from the red side of the
And
rift.
Vikes go aggressive.
This is aggressive, Vigs. I don't know what you're doing with this one. It might work out, though, onto the Sivir. The damage is coming through. Flash away, forced. But look at the map. The minions are dying in the other towers.
Yeah. Although minions are dying, like, this is still a double kill. First blood from Augusta. They are showing a good counter gank here. And Kimona might be in danger, but the cage guarantees basically nope, he can't get any much forwards. And yeah, as I was saying, like, the double kill almost grants the Drake. I think Augusta here wants to reset first for the Drake, but a good overall counter gank and reaction from Augusta. This is what Senshi needs to work on the future for the games, because they tend to give this over the first bloods and the early leads. They tend to give them over the enemy teams.
It felt like a bit of an overforce coming through here from the side of Senshi. They were really looking for this kill when I think there was an opportunity to just leave, and it would have been a nothing for nothing. You blow flashes and that's good enough. But Stank maybe a little bit too worried about the fact that they need to be aggressive and to be that early game transitioner. Trying to look for more now on the top side as Jamik does land a nice little knock up, and no ulti going to hit thanks to that interrupt from the taunt. Just to disengage, and now some trading in the bot side, but nothing major coming about here for the side of Senshi.
Yeah, and I think Jamix, he missed the ult there. Not too sure if he had the dash to hit him, but missing the ult doesn't grant the gank gun here on the bot side.
Yeah, this is just running him down. There's no flash available here for Lagodia, so it's an easy turnaround, and it's just the power of the Ashe Karma. When you do land that first bit of slows or CC, you just run them down. There's not a lot of counterplay, so great stuff there from Marksman and from Akua in the bottom side. The Xerath gonna pick another one. Nopi gonna make sure that early game is all AEA.
The team captain here from Augusta here with the snipes. This is the second kill I think he got from this ult, and showing here why he likes this pick. I mean, his rotations are pretty much on point. That's what you got to do with this champ, right? You get the ult, you rotate bot with an aggressive play from your bot lane, and you get some kills.
Absolutely. I mean, when you are playing Xerath as well, against a bunch of champions that are relatively low range, you feel pretty good. I think when I look across the board, you know, in general, for these two teams, my thought is red side looking pretty long range, blue side looking fairly, so right side, red side looking long, blue side not so much, and the lifespan might be even shorter as the Seraphine gets tagged with the arrow. It's Xin going down horribly. Stank gets dominated there by
Magnus is on.
It's looking for 2. Can Xin turn and revenge against the opposition? Yes, it will be. It's just going to be a little bit of a copycat moment as a double kill goes to Vikes, make that a third now going down to their Shen, and AEA, are you okay? Senshi in dismay.
This is not what you want, the Senshi club. They are showing us why we were very preoccupied with this early game. 3 kills coming out from Augusta, and already this is a horrible situation here as we look at the gold lead from Augusta. This is a huge deficit from Senshi, and wow, this could not have gone any worse for them. I mean, they got the top lane, yeah, the lane is pushing for Jamix, but nothing else is gained from here. I don't know what they were doing.
I think major credit. I was going to say, major credit, I think, needs to go down
Yeah.
to Vikes as well. Because whilst Nopi has gotten several kills in that mid lane, look at the CS difference here in the jungle. The pathing has just been a little bit better from Vikes, has always been there to counter-gank the plays that Stank was going to go for that could have been successful, has managed to gain kill advantage, CS advantage, XP advantage crucially as well. Look at the situation there. It just feels like the proactive member for the side of Senshi hasn't been able to find that right footing, and it means that they might be in an awkward situation now where they slowly but surely slip away from this game. You've got to wonder how they're going to find a way back into it.
Yeah, and almost every carry from Augusta is half an item ahead already. Not a very easy situation for Senshi, and you don't want to be in this position against a comp like Augusta has, because the choke points will get hard on late game. I mean, yes, they don't have too much engage, but if they are ahead, it's really hard for you to do anything pretty much, because on the scaling department you can play for that, but I don't think they have too much time, because mid game Augusta is just very clean team. They've got the team as well on the team comp side, and yeah, this may look like a promising game from Augusta yet again, and 3-0 might come out from this game, as they already have a 4k gold lead.
I'm a little worried because whilst Senshi Club does have the better scaling of the two compositions, the question for me is more about whether or not they'll be able to weather the storm, because AEA, they've got such a great mid-game spike for their champions. Stank, looking to try and punish in that early game while the Xin is still strong, does find some damage onto Nopi, forces the flash away. The Predator isn't going to do much. Now on the bottom side, the encore coming through. We'll see if Senshi wants more. It's not going to be enough, sadly. Ignite is going to be blown and flash
but
to
a flash
escape it.
from Vikes.
Siva, that's a little bit of an overstay. A little bit of a mistake coming through. Now Vikes might be looking for more. The Seraphine, can she sing a song of escaping? The
look at the
battle song is more
TPs.
than enough here for the Viego, and suddenly the TP. You're TPing into death, my friend. Taunted up. Damage comes through. Vikes going to get themselves out potentially, but doesn't end up getting out with that syringe charge. It's not enough. Now the turret's doing more work than the members of Senshi on this one. It's going to be another engage here from Stank. It's a little bit over-aggressive, but it is going to be the trade around for Kimona at the very least. Senshi, they get 2 on the board, but how much did you lose for it?
So much happening right now. I mean, and if you look at it, Amondor still got his TP. He can just pretty much TP top and get to the wave first. This is, I think, not an ideal situation for Senshi. I think they think the turnaround is okay because they got the TP on Jamex and he's coming on bot lane, but the situation got worse, and I think it was a late TP, as now we see Magnus on the mid lane and Seraphine goes wide and nothing happens from it, but Vikes already hovering near mid. I think the Herald is going down.
You got to imagine it's just a Herald angle here for the Viego. Just wants to drop that, get that mid tower down while you've got that plate. Maybe look for 2 of the initial charge and a 3rd after the fact. So this will likely just be that mid tower falling. And honestly, if you're AEA, getting that first breaking it down is going to be very beneficial. However,
Vikes may be on trouble.
Engage coming through now. Vix is locked up. There's no way out of the baby cage, but it doesn't seem to matter. Vigo now running his little toddler legs over there, but isn't going to be able to catch up at all. And now, suddenly it's Amandor that's caught out. Suddenly, it's the Xin Zhao Orn that's finding one, and suddenly, Senshi Club get one back.
And the second kill from Stank here is very important. I mean, if you look at it, Xin Zhao, when he's on the back foot, it's really hard for him to play the game. Especially because he's got a guard ring. He's not a full tank, he's more of a bruiser style player. And if he gets behind, he cannot tank this team from Asteroid Augusta. Also on the top lane, Jamex is pushing for the first tower of Senshi. He's not quite gonna get it yet, but some good aggression from Senshi comes out. Although they are still behind, I really like to see this.
I wonder whether or not we might see an investment into the... it's been quite hot. I don't know how it's been over there, but in the UK it's quite warm today. So we need ice. I think we might be looking at a freezer angle here in the bottom side. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Algodia maybe just leave that wave closer to their tower, freeze out a little bit, and slowly but surely accrue CS that way. Because if you just perma shove and fight right now, I don't think as Senshi you're able to do a whole lot. I prefer to see them try and play slower, try and play more for the farm, for the XP, for those slow but sure advantage, and force AEA to try and make things happen. However, that's not what we're going to see. Jamix instead going onto the top lane. It's tank v tank. There is a songstress to even it out, maybe give us a little bit of a battle theme going on, and it might just be enough. This damage is very slow, but a death by 1,000 cuts is all you need because Senshi Club.
Yeah. Magus connects the ultimate, I think. No chance here for the Shen to go out of this gang. Commander dies here. I think he's still got the DP top, but as we see Marksman and Azur here coming top lane, I think a little bit of a swapping goes on. Sivir will be dropped alone on the bot lane, and Shen likely to TP there. Wow, now we got a kill on the mid lane.
I like the fact there was an arrow 5 for that one, but it was too late anyway, and now Nobi going a bit over aggressive, ulting in front of the Xin, but the Senshi is there, and so is the damage. 2 kills going over. Now Jamix is the target, Vex is there, the Shen is there, the Shadow Dash Taunt isn't going to be enough CC though. They're looking for more. I wonder if it's over aggressive. It doesn't seem like it is, so it just seems like a little bit too much damage. Suddenly the Vigar's running, run man run, you gotta get out of there, and he is going to be able to disengage this one luckily, but it's still several dead.
Wow, what a clean game from Vikes here. I mean, he's pretty much been the carry here for the team of Asteroid Augusta. What a game from him. I think, honestly, he's been pretty much the leader here, right, in game, because pretty much everything is going around the Viego, and he's getting the resets, he's getting the kills, he's getting pretty much a lot of aggression. Only dies one time, but still, like, what a game from him. So far, so good.
You can call him Michelangelo because he's turning this into a masterpiece on the Rift. It's beautiful so far out of the Viego, and with that little bit of hovering in the top side, it's easy enough to just take that top tower. Feels like now they want to play to this Herald, try to push the tempo even more, but when you've already got an 8k advantage, it just seems like AEA are faster on each play. They're more financially stable on each play, and we might just be in for a wallet whacking for the rest of this one.
Yeah, Camona goes wide here on the cage. I think Stank is trying to make a play here on mid and maybe try to knock a bit of this tower off as the platings now have dropped. But here Magnus tries to connect. What a reaction from Nopi. And here the turnaround
may come. The CC chain now coming down. The Vigar getting hit with the artillery. The bombardment is going to come through. No. The damage is there. It is the Karma that secures it, so maybe that's a light in the darkness of that last play. But it just seems like AEA, they're able to find a turnaround on every single moment.
Gotta feel bad for Kimona there.
Yeah,
you almost said
does feel bad.
You almost said it.
Oh god,
I can feel it. I can feel it.
I'm feeling a little bit like a corgi because that one's rough, but in the meantime, engage from Stank is going to get a lot of damage denied there coming through from the Crescent Guard. It's not going to be enough, and now suddenly Jamix is the target. It feels like Magus might be getting cut down for their mana. Nice turnaround for Vix, and remember, the Herald's been spawned. No one is going to defend that one now, so it's just going to be the mid tower getting focused. A lot of damage can be dealt to that pretty quickly, and
2 charges.
18.5 minutes, mid tower's gone.
Yeah. Mid tower is gone. I mean, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 is gone. No towers left in mid lane. And Vikes here again, yet with the Typhon mid lane, it's been quite good here on the Viego. And honestly, there, I think Senshi also didn't need to engage. I think they should have just wave cleared the wave, right? And let the Herald kick the tower, because the situation got worse even here. And the team fight didn't go their way. The towers went down. I think, like here, the third Drake is almost coming up, and as we get to Soul Point, I don't think Senshi got too much of a way out of this game, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a bit of a difficult one if you are a fan of Senshi. However, I think the fact that Vikes is playing so well this game works in your favor, because you do have that big shutdown goals you can go into. If you're able to pick that up, maybe then you're able to get your items online a little faster. Maybe then you're able to find yourself those ornaments and those upgrades to come through into those later stages. So I'm looking at Magus, who's found so many good engages so far already on this Seraphine. One of the few, I think, shining lights this game. Can maybe potentially find something onto that Viego. You look to burst him that way, because otherwise it feels a little bit tough, but Vikes is playing so well. it's going to be hard to find the angle.
Yeah, and Senshi trying to control a bit of the vision side on the bot lane, but they really can't get in the jungle here. And this just shows how much Augusta has built a lead here on the early game. And this is exactly what we were saying would probably happen, as Augusta tends to win these early games. And let's see if any team in the future can contest this. But for now, they have been the undefeated team, and they have been a pretty strong team. I mean, they are showing us why they are on the top of the table here. And yeah, Senshi didn't have the best performance here on the early game. Maybe a bit of an overforce in most of the fights, as we have a fight here near the Baron pits. Jamix may be in trouble.
Yeah, Jordan coming through, and Jamix just going to get bursted out. It's a 3-man encore, but no one's listening. They got their AirPods in, and they're going to go straight to the Baron. Easy pick.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can see this, but Marksman is split pushing on the bot lane. This shows how much confident Valeria here.
Yeah, you might as well have the confidence if you're going to just nuke the Seraphine like that. And on the subject of nuking, how about we drop them from the sky? The damage coming through here from Nopi gets 2 immediately. Might look for a third one, doesn't need it. Vike's going to happily take that one, and it's just the 4v4 previously with your AD carry splitting bot. We don't care, we'll take an ace.
Yeah, ace for Augusta. I don't know if you saw that MVP arrow from Marksman coming down from the bot lane. Wow, what an arrow there. Did you see that?
Marksman by name, marksman by nature. I must have missed it, to be honest with you, but what I can tell you is that I think that Senshi is starting to miss their towers and their structures, because those are falling like flies. The coin isn't quite there to rebuild those anytime quickly. They'll be gone for a few minutes, and you wonder now whether it's just a case of AEA closing it out. How long will it take for them?
Yeah, and you know what, Recollect? I think next comes Baron, because Acerate here, they recall as 5 men, and I think they're going straight to Baron, and they really don't care how Senshi steps up into this, because they are pretty confident. I mean, look at the items here from Viego. From Nopi, he's already got that 6 stacks, and he's trying to get those 25. I don't think he can get to 25 before the game ends, because the way this is going, I think Acerate here is gonna end the game pretty soon.
Yeah, and the Baron is that tool that started up, and I don't think that's going to be much of a contest here. Stank already just resetting, so it feels like it's just a case of one last fight. Can you close out cleanly enough, or will there be some sort of miracle on-horn encore combination that can come through from the utility members of this Senshi Club lineup? If anyone's going to do it, it's got to be those guys, because Yozin Zhao at this point has fallen off of a cliff as if he's skydiving. Yeah. It's going to be tough to frontline at all at this point. But they are standing in the smug wall. They're looking for it. It's a 3-man encore. It's not a bad opener. Combo that with a 2-man. They're looking for the Ashe, but that means you're not focusing Vix, and I'm going to just tell you this. No. That Viego is going to rip you to shreds. It's a double already. They're looking for more. Can they find more? Their Shen is tanking. Has to jump away to avoid getting caged up. Vix doesn't care. Make it 3. Why not make it 3? Let's get a third. There's your third. Vix is going to happily pick that one up as well. And now Vikey. The Vikings come to plunder this one, and they're plundering away at these towers.
And this is game for sure. Acerate, Augusta here taking the game against Senshi Club, stays on the top of the table, stay unbeatable here in HOFL Week 3, as we got a win from them. What a game from the Acerate team.
Yeah,